Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Oh Shoot. I'm your host, Cassidy Lynne, and happy Monday. Welcome back. Happy fall. That's weird. I guess not technically fall, but happy September. Like always, the year has flown by. Where does the time go? Nobody knows. And every year it feels like it gets shorter and shorter. I feel like we were literally just in September, but whatever. Welcome back. I hope you guys are surviving busy season. Just popping on here real quick to say you guys got this. Keep going. You're so strong. You are a strong soldier in this season. You've got this. Okay. So we've got lots to talk about today. I've got some fun editing fail stories from you guys that we're going to discuss. Very triggering in the sense of just like, these are some crazy stories. Not actually, like there's not any actual trigger warnings unless you have like trauma from editing. But we've got lots of updates before that. So first thing I want to say, last episode, I talked about Taylor Swift's engagement and Taylor Swift's photographer. Turns out people are just saying that they took the photos even though they didn't. So the person that I talked about last episode is not actually the photographer. It was a joke, which I'm literally like, this is not funny. Why are we joking about this? Like, if you didn't take the photos, don't claim it. It's starting to feel a little bit like Cinderella. It's feeling like another Cinderella story where we've got all these people lined up claiming that they're Cinderella, even though they're not. Okay. So let's stop claiming Taylor Swift's photos if you didn't take them. It's kind of rude. Also, don't steal someone else's work. Like, if you didn't take the photo, like, don't say that you took the photo. I don't know. It's just, these are just common sense things at this point, but I feel like I have to reiterate them. So Taylor's photographer has not come forward as of yet, nor do I think they ever will. Yeah, because I think they're probably under NDA. So there's that. Let's talk about how do I say this? Let's talk about backdrop gate. That's what I'm going to call it. So I have a story to tell you guys. I worked with an amazing brand. They're called Chasing Stone. If you need hand painted backdrops, they have the most amazing backdrops. Okay. So I worked with them. They sent me a backdrop and I was taking some photos in front of the backdrop. Okay. Well, I'm recording on my phone this whole process because I'm also trying out a new camera, blah, blah, blah. So I'm recording this whole thing. The backdrop is like pretty heavy. It's super like thick and durable. Okay. The photos turned out great. It's an amazing backdrop. They're like hand painted backdrops. So they're kind of like lime wash looking. Anyway, I'm standing taking a test shot against this backdrop. I'm literally in the podcast studio. Okay. That's where I have this backdrop set up. So I kind of like lose my balance a little bit and I fall like backwards into the backdrop, but I stand up and I'm like, oh, the backdrop's fine. Like nothing happened. So then I continue for about 2 seconds. I'm standing there. I start to fix my hair. I'm ready to take a photo. The backdrop falls completely over my head. It falls forward and topples on top of me, guys. And I'm recording the whole thing too. So I'm literally under the backdrop for probably like, I want to say at least 5 seconds. And I'm just like, what just happened? What just happened to me? Like, did this really just fall right on my head? And of course it did. This was not a dream. This actually happened to me. And this honestly is kind of a testament to the backdrops because it didn't like rip or anything. The backdrop looked amazing even after it fell on me. And I realized that I probably should be using sandbags. So the reason it fell over was because the weight at the bottom of the like backdrop stand, there's like no weight down there because I don't use sandbags. So I just kind of always hope that I don't run into it and knock it over. And I've never knocked it over so far, except for this time. So yeah, the backdrop fell over on me. I did get it back up, and like I said, the photos turn out great. That actually leads me into the next thing that I want to talk to you guys about, which is the new Sony camera that I tried. Okay, so Sony lent me this camera to try out. Okay, I really have had no knowledge of this camera at all. Like literally did not know a single thing about this camera when they sent it to me. They just were like, hey, you want to try it out? We can send it to you for a couple of days, whatever. I'm like, sure. So it was the Sony RX. I have to look it up just to make sure I actually like got the right one. Sorry, one sec. What I do know is it took really, okay, yeah. So it's the Sony RX1R Mark III, which is just a lot of numbers. But it's a digital camera. If you literally search Sony RX compact camera, it's the first one that pops up. So I was using this camera to take the headshots of me in front of this backdrop. Because I was like, I don't really know what else I'm going to use it for. Couple of notes about this specific camera. I'm not a techie, like when it comes to gear and stuff, but this camera was so lightweight. The lens itself was amazing. I believe it was a 35 f2.0, and it was just a little tiny lens. It was perfect. I thought the camera shot amazing. The RAWs are 61 megabytes, which if you guys know, like my Sony A7R5. So it's like it's a good camera. It takes RAWs that are 61 megabytes. Okay. So this little travel compact camera is taking the same size has the same file size as my super expensive Sony A7R5. Okay. My Sony A9 III, I believe the RAWs are around like 30 megabytes. So this compact camera has a super big sensor. Overall, it was a great camera. However, then I go and look at the price. I am wondering if Sony is trying to get into like the Leica territory. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the territory of like really, really expensive but super small cameras, because this camera is $5,000. The way my jaw literally hit the floor, I thought like maybe, because I have like the Sony RX100, like one of the old ones, and it was like 1,000 something. So I was thinking maybe like 2,000 because it's like newer. It's $5,000. That's how much my Sony A7R5 costs. Okay, so like that's the only thing where I'm like, that's like really expensive, but it's such a compact camera. Like you really can't beat like how small it is. It's the thinnest. It's actually like a compact small digital camera, but it takes photos that are so high quality. So I don't know. Just this camera kind of threw me for a loop because I'm just like, this is such a good camera. Quality is amazing. Everything's amazing except the price tag. So that's my review of it. Would I go out and buy one? Probably not, because I don't need a $5,000 camera to take travel photos for me. But if I could put my normal lenses on it, maybe. I don't know. I didn't even check to see if I could put my lenses on it, so I don't know. Okay, and then these headshots that I was taking. So this is a very long story, okay? But to wrap it all up, these headshots are for my new podcast cover art. Yay! Oh my gosh, we're updating. Oh my gosh. So new cover art coming soon. I put a poll on my Instagram and I got 10,000 votes for one and then 10,000 votes for another. So I literally don't even know what to do. It's almost a perfect tie. And so I think I just have to go with like the one that I like the best. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. I did get a couple of DMs about potentially a new podcast song. So we'll see. I'm chatting with people, but we'll see where that goes. So we might be doing a whole refresh, for the fall season. We shall see. I also have a really fun opportunity that I don't want to jinx it, so I'm not going to say what it is, but it has to do with meeting someone that I have looked up to for a very long time. And I will update you guys on that next week if it actually happens. So the last thing I want to say before we get into my submissions, in October, will be going to, drumroll, Japan. Yay! I don't remember if I've told you guys this or not, so if I have, sorry. But I'm going to Japan, and the reason I'm saying this is because I want recommendations. If you've been to Japan before, if you live in Japan, if you are just a Japan enthusiast, send me all the things, where to go, where to eat, what to see, what cities to go to. It's such like a big area with so much to see that it's really overwhelming. So if you have recommendations, let me know. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. I think we should get into these editing fail submissions. I don't think you guys are ready. Like, these are like crazy. Like, oh boy. You're definitely gonna feel a little itchy and a little just icky after all of these. So count your blessings, hug your hard drives during these stories, because you're gonna need it. This week's episode is brought to you by Aftershoot, and I have an exciting announcement that Aftershoot is launching AI retouching, which is now in public beta, and it's free to use now until September 2025. So this adds a powerful finishing layer to the Aftershoot workflow. Now photographers can cull, edit, and retouch all in one tool without extra costs or the need for additional software. So a few key features with their AI retouching. It has skin smoothing for the face and body, which preserves natural texture, blemish and acne removal, flyaway hair cleanup, glasses glare removal, and it's built right into Aftershoot's existing workflow. So I'm super excited to partner with Aftershoot for this podcast. Specifically, the retouching tool is really awesome. Basically, what it does is you're able to import your edited JPEGs into Aftershoot, and there's like these little sliders for flyaways and face brightening and eye brightening and all the things, and it does such a good job. It's very, very fast, and something that would take me like a really, really long time in Lightroom, it does in seconds in Aftershoot. So their retouching tool is now available, and like I said, it is free until September. So go give it a try. The link to sign up for Aftershoot is in the description of this episode, and use Cassidy for a percentage off. All right, back to the show. This is my biggest editing fail. I was editing a session where I accidentally posed a girl, so there was this bright yellow sign right behind her head. So I used the generative remove tool in Lightroom to get rid of it. I edited the rest of the gallery and decided to denoise the entire thing because it was kind of dark when I took the pictures and there was a bit of noise. I didn't realize that when you denoise photos, it basically redoes any of the other AI settings you did previously. So when the denoising was happening, Lightroom decided to pick the girl's face to remove instead of the sign behind her face. So then it replaced this girl's face with this creepy, demented looking face in a few pictures. I didn't realize anything happened, so I accidentally delivered the gallery like that. The girl it happened to was my sister's friend, and she texted my sister saying, "That is not my face." My sister texted me asking why I edited this girl's face like that, and I had to explain the whole situation. I was mortified, and I fixed the pictures right away. I was glad it was just my sister's friend and not a stranger, but I was still so embarrassed. So let's talk about the generative AI of it all. Tell me why AI cannot figure out like removing things. Like specifically, I have issues with like removing people. Like I will select an entire person from the background of something, and it'll be AI remove all the things, and it replaces it with another person. And I'm like, I don't want another person here. I want the person gone. I'm using AI remove. Like, get rid of them. Like sometimes I feel like it just doesn't get it. And specifically in your case, like it deciding to just like replace someone's face. I'm like, that is the one thing that is completely untouchable by AI. There should literally be parameters within AI to not touch the person's face that's in focus the most, do not touch that face at all. Because if anyone's face is even slightly different, it's going to completely, like, that person's going to know. Like, they know what they look like, right? So it's just funny because they literally put a completely different face over this person's face. And then delivering the gallery too. Imagine you book a photographer and you get your photos back and like there's 3 photos that your face is completely different. Oh, that is so funny. That would actually, like, I feel like I would just have to laugh. Like, as the client, it's funny because it's like, you know, it's AI. Like, you know that that's what happened. Okay. I was editing my own branding photos and I was wearing a plunging V-neck vest. It looked fine when I first looked in the mirror, but I didn't realize that when I moved around, it would split open and it would show my bra. So I was attempting to put like a black tank top undershirt over my bra in post editing using Photoshop Generative AI prompts. But instead of putting a black shirt where my cleavage was, it kept putting a black cat face. Thanks, Photoshop. I really wanted a cat where my boobs should be. I feel like Photoshop, at the end of the day, it knows what it wants to put in your photo. The other day I was editing like a backdrop and I was extending it in Lightroom. So I literally just selected the whole top of the photo. And most of them, it did really well. But in one of them, instead of like extending the backdrop all the way, it extended the backdrop and then it put these like arches. Like, it made it look like I was in this like futuristic egg tunnel is the only way I can describe it. And it like kept going on and on and on. It was like a continuation of the backdrop. And then all of a sudden it was like yellow and purple and black. And it was just this tunnel that kept going. It was so weird. And I was just like, where did you get this from? Like, where did you think this was a good idea? So a black cat under your shirt, that is funny. Okay. Here's the next story. I had 2 weddings left to go for the year, and I always give my couples a date to expect the gallery so that they can plan a little date night or watch party for it. So I try to stick right to that date if possible. I happened to get my second to last wedding done a couple weeks ahead of their deadline, so I waited to upload them. As I went to edit my last wedding on my Lacy hard drive, I already know where this is going downhill. Yeah, the minute you said a Lacy hard drive, I'm like, okay. Mind you, I've used Lacy's for years and I've never had a problem, but it was a matter of when and not if, because as I moved my laptop, my Lacy simply fell out of my computer and poof, there went the fully edited wedding gallery and the wedding I had to edit as well, which was fully culled and I have edits in the previews, mind you. I took it to Best Buy and they couldn't do a single thing. Thankfully, I always kept the OG SD cards, so at least I didn't truly lose the images, but I lost so much time. The couple gave me grace and they were still very happy with the final products, but this has taught me to just upload the damn thing and not wait. Moral of the story, switching to Samsung Shields and don't risk walking around with your drive in your computer like silly old me. Number 1 lesson, always back up your work. I'm talking your catalogs after you cull, back up the photos that you select after you do your previews, like back up everything. This actually reminds me, this girl that I know, she's a photographer, her name's Paige. She posted on her close friends list that her Lightroom catalog, after she denoised like 15 photos, it just like crashed and she wasn't able to edit any other photos. Like, it was all like frozen. And then when she like closed the catalog and went to reopen it, and literally the catalog then said that it was like corrupt. The catalog was corrupt. And she had like all these previews on there. She had like another wedding in there and like more previews from like another wedding that like would take her so much time to like go back and redo all those previews and whatever. And so she was like, I don't know what to do, whatever. And I ended up DMing her and I was like, girl, you need to look to see if there are backup catalogs. So Lightroom does sometimes, when you click back up, so make sure you click back up, it creates backup catalogs for you just in case. So you can always restore a catalog from a backup. So if you are like halfway through a gallery or whatever, or like you finish previews, or if you're this person and you're like, oh, I'm going to wait to deliver these, just hit backup. When you go to close Lightroom, it'll ask you, do you want to back these up? The answer is always yes. Okay. So back up your photos. And you know, this is just a tale as old as time. Like when you drop your hard drive, sometimes everything disappears. Poof, gone. So be very, very careful. It doesn't matter what the hard drive is. You need to be so careful with those hard drives because the slightest movement can just completely change everything, and make sure everything's backed up. For sure. Okay. When I first started photography, I did some 8th grade graduation photos for my mom's friend's daughter. And I did the iconic shot of throwing the cap in the air. Fast forward to me editing, and I was fine and dandy going through. I sent over the gallery, and after I sent the gallery, I realized that in those cap throwing pictures, you could see this poor girl's nipple was sticking out at the top of her dress. I felt so bad. I sent new ones, but I sent new photos. I sent new photos, but man, that was embarrassing for me. Anyways, I definitely double check every gallery now. Yeah, that's embarrassing. And that's like one of those things I'm sure the girl probably noticed that too when you delivered them. So good thing that you noticed and that you're able to fix it. And honestly, that's one of the things that you just have to like keep an eye for while you're shooting as well. Like any sort of wardrobe malfunction that's going to like cost you extra time. Like always make sure you're checking for everything and just make sure everything looks like it's secure before you just start shooting. And then like there's something that you have to edit out of every photo. Okay. When I first started photography, I was booked for one of my biggest jobs ever. I was asked to take professional pictures for a full baseball league. I had just started editing with the computer that I had, and I wasn't aware that I wouldn't have storage on my computer for thousands of pictures that I took that day. So instead of just backing up my old stuff, I went on a deleting spree, and I accidentally deleted all the pictures that I took. I was genuinely ready to quit. It took so much work to do the pictures again, and I still have parents and coaches so mad at me, even when I gave them their pictures for free. Definitely learned to never delete anything while my card is in my computer. Yeah, that's crazy. I just had a moment like this yesterday where I was looking for these like videos that me and Charlie took at Horseshoe Bend. And I was like searching all over my hard drives and could not find it anywhere. And I was like, oh, cool. So I must have deleted them. I feel like sometimes for me, it's videos that I forget exist because I'm a photographer. So I always go in and grab the photos, but videos are in like a separate folder on my camera. So I have deleted videos. There was one time me and Charlie took all these videos in the airport with one of my like new merch drops. And then I deleted all the videos off of the camera. So that was awesome. Anyway, yeah, that sucks. Honestly, like you've just learned your lesson now. And it sucks that like these coaches and stuff and parents are giving you a hard time, but like you live and you learn. And this is definitely one of those learn scenarios for sure. Okay, moving on. I almost finished 5+ galleries, including styled shoots. I stood up to grab a water. Then I heard commotion in the room that I was editing in, and I found that my dog knocked over my coffee, spilling it all over my laptop and into all of my ports. Completely fried my laptop and lost all my work on Lightroom. Oh my gosh. So your laptop is fried, but I'm assuming you still had the photos, right? But you lost all the edits. That's the thing. I feel like people are so careful with backing up like the photos. People are not careful enough to actually back up like Lightroom catalogs. Like I feel like that's where a little bit of the lack is. And honestly, for myself too, I feel like I am not great at backing up Lightroom catalogs. So this is your sign to back up all your Lightroom catalogs. Okay. Do it before your laptop gets fried because your dog decided to knock your coffee all over it and destroy all your work in 2 seconds. Okay. Appa, my dog, loves coffee. I don't know why, but anytime Charlie has a coffee, he's always like trying to sniff it. And like one time we caught him like literally drinking out of Charlie's coffee mug. So I could see my dog doing something like this, to be honest. I feel like dogs just don't understand like their bodies sometimes. Like they don't know that their tail can like knock things over. And I feel like it happens like often enough where Appa's just like knocking into things with his tail because it's just like they're just not spatially aware that they have a tail sometimes. I don't know. Okay, here's another editing fail. I once had a wedding where I spent hours editing the photos only to realize that I had done the entire gallery in the wrong color profile. When I uploaded them to the online gallery, every single image looked neon and completely off. I thought I had ruined someone's wedding photos. I had to go back and re-edit hundreds of images from scratch, and it took me days to fix. Thankfully, I delivered it on time, but I definitely learned the hard way to double check my settings before starting an edit. Okay, so like, what do you mean neon? Like, were like the greens just like, was it all like super saturated or something? I'm confused because I've never seen the results of like a bad color profile. I feel like it shows you in Lightroom what it's going to end up looking like. Maybe I'm just not educated enough on color profiles. Interesting though. That would suck. Like seeing the photos uploaded to the gallery and then them all looking completely off. There is something to say about like having to re-edit a wedding gallery. It already takes you days to edit it. Now think about the fact you have to re-edit it. That sounds awful. Especially like me lately. I've been shooting and delivering around like 1,300 photos per wedding. It's so bad, guys. Like someone put a chokehold on me. Don't let me take any more photos. It's like I take way too many photos. But I just can't imagine re-editing 1,300 photos. And like for me, I feel like 1,300 photos is still like small. But I feel like all of my photos are different and unique. So like, what's the issue? Spoken like a true overshooter, cannot see the flaws. I have a really hard time like getting rid of photos, guys. I have to admit, it's really, really hard for me. Like I will go into grid view and look at all my photos and I will say, I need all 1,700 of these. None of them can go. I don't know what it is. Like I just like, I see the slight variation in a photo and I can picture like a different crop or whatever. But it just gets to a point where it's like, it's still too many photos. Like even if you're doing one pose, you're doing a wide, you're doing closer up, you're doing landscape, you're doing whatever, it's still too many photos of the same pose. Like I need to lock in on not doing that. It's awful. Okay, moving on. I did a family shoot a couple of years ago with one of those clients who gives way too many red flags. She had an attitude with me before the shoot even started, so imagine my horror when I showed up to our location and there was construction literally everywhere. It was unavoidable, so I just shot at the spot with the most beautiful fall trees, and I tormented myself by editing out every single traffic cone, scaffolding, and piece of construction tape later. I was super proud of myself for working with my editing magic since this was built before the built-in AI removal tools and I was still a fairly new photographer. A few days after I delivered the gallery, I got an angry call from this client saying that there was one traffic cone in the background of a photo and how unprofessional it was for me to leave it in there. I fixed the photo and I didn't say anything, but it took everything in me not to tell her how many hours I had spent editing the construction out of every single photo. To this day, I'm still mad that I missed that one cone and gave her another reason to sass me. Wow. So my question for you is, why didn't you just pick a new location? I mean, I get there comes a point where it's like, I just need to pick a spot. We just need to do the photos. I get that. But like, this sounds horrible. And pre-generative remove days for editing things out, let me enlighten you guys. If you are like a newer photographer and you have just always had these tools, when you used to have to like remove something, you would have to go into Lightroom. There was a clone tool and a heal tool, and that was it. So you could either clone, which would be an exact copy and paste of whatever thing it is. So like it would be the exact thing. It's a clone, so it doesn't blend very well. Or you can use the heal tool and you basically like click the area you want to heal and then you drag the other circle around where you want it to sample from and just hope that it blends well. Okay, because most of the time it did not blend well. Something like a traffic cone, for me, it would have been almost impossible to remove because there's no like, when there was no other background options, it wouldn't know how to remove it. Like you'd have to go into Photoshop and like somehow Photoshop like a new background or whatever in that little area where the cone was. Like it just was so much work back in the day. Now, traffic cone, poof, gone. Lightroom does in a second. It's so nice. Like I'm not trying to be that person that like is saying, oh, I used to walk uphill 20 miles to school every day. Like I'm not trying to be that person, but it was really hard removing things in 2018. Okay. The times are different now. I get it. Lightroom is better. It's great. I love all the improvements Lightroom has made, but it just makes me thankful every single day that I use that generative AI tool in Lightroom. I am thankful because that is not how it used to always be. It used to be really, really hard. Like basically I would shoot knowing that I could barely remove things. Like an outlet, sure. A traffic cone, maybe. Like people, no, you're not removing people. Like unless they're little teeny tiny, it's going to be impossible. So count your blessings, guys. Even as I'm reading these, I'm like, you guys don't know, you don't know the struggle. Okay, moving on. Another editing fail. I shot one of my first solo weddings in a Catholic church, so I used silent shutter mode and I didn't know about banding lines. Well, I imported all the photos into Lightroom and then I noticed all the lines on half of the photos of the ceremony. The most important photos. There was no way I was going to be able to fix those lines, so I had to pay a retoucher to fix the photos for me. They looked okay in the end, but definitely not my best work. Yes. So banding. This is something I've talked about on the podcast before, but it never hurts to have a refresher. Silent shutter mode is great until it is not. Banding occurs when you use silent shutter mode, and it's just like, it's really hard to fix. I don't even really know how you fix it. Like, it's just impossible is how it feels. So I'm surprised a retoucher was able to fix it for you because I don't even know how to fix bands. Like it's just so light and so dark in the photo. I'm just like, how do you fix bands like that? That's crazy. So yeah, take note if you ever use silent shutter, if you're ever tempted to use silent shutter, banding is a real thing. I don't know if I've ever told you guys. I'm pretty sure I've said it on the podcast, but I'll tell it again. My story about my first kiss that I photoshopped, because way back in the day, I missed a couple's first kiss. They kissed in 2 seconds. I missed it and I ended up like photoshopping the two of them kissing, and I used photos from like earlier in the day, put it on their heads. Like I took their bodies, moved their bodies closer. I used a detail shot from the ceremony and layered it in the back. Because it was like this art gallery, so it was like these picture frames were behind them, so it was like you really had to make sure that it was lined up perfectly. Anyway, yeah, it was something else, but I delivered the photo and that was that. I never heard a word, and at this point it's been over 5 years, so I think I got away with it. But yeah, that's one of my, I guess that was an editing success, but a shooting fail for sure. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Hi, Cassidy. Thank you for your podcast. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. Thank you. I'm originally from Russia and I moved to the States about 3 years ago. And wow, the client expectations here are like night and day difference. In Russia, every bride expects full-blown Photoshop magic on every single photo, ceremony, reception, and even random candids of them eating cake. They don't want to see a single imperfection, no pimples, no stray hairs, no double chin, no fat rolls, nothing. And yes, sometimes they'll ask you to make them skinnier too. If you don't, they'll look at you and say, why not? Isn't that your job? So after 10 plus years of that, I basically turned into a crazy editing perfectionist. I can't even look at a picture without fixing something. Now in the US, brides are way more chill, like a flyaway hair or a little wrinkle, and I'm over here spending 40 minutes cloning out every shadow like it's a Vogue cover shoot. So my editing disaster story is really just me. I'm the disaster. I'm over editing when no one asks for it. What do you think? Should I finally learn to chill out with editing, or is it just perfectionism in my DNA at this point? You know, I think it's in your DNA. I don't know how you're going to get past that. I don't even know if I have the technical skills to do what you're saying, to remove a double chin, to remove fat rolls, even to remove wrinkles. I'm like, I don't really know how to do that. So to be honest, I don't know. Like, once you have an eye for some things, it's really hard to untrain your eye, and it's going to take a lot of time. Honestly, you might need to set like a time limit on yourself for how long you can spend on a single photo, because I could see you spending hours on like 3 photos, and that is just not necessary. So yeah, I think it's something you can work on for sure, but you know, that's funny that you're trained that way. I feel like I'm the opposite. I like don't care about straight hairs at all. I feel like it makes it look authentic. I barely edit out pimples and stuff because I'm like, you can barely see it. Like sometimes I will, but like I'm not doing a ton of editing. So I definitely would say, from a US photographer, we are much more chill. I love myself for this. I love myself for this. So as a new photographer, I knew that people use Lightroom for editing. I didn't realize that there was a web version and then there's a Lightroom Classic. I once was on a mentor call with someone that I really looked up to, and she was helping me with editing stuff. She kept asking, do you see this? Or use this tool? And I was just absolutely lost. I was too embarrassed at first, but after 30 minutes, I finally spoke up and I told her that I actually have no clue what she's talking about or what she's seeing. Come to find out, I've been using the web version on my computer this whole time. I look back now at all my photos that I edited on there, and I realized why the quality was so crappy. Good Lord, I still have secondhand embarrassment for myself to this day. So yes, that is a real thing. I believe you can access Lightroom from like Google, and you can like edit photos on Lightroom, like on your browser. Definitely not going to be ideal. It's so funny because like, I feel like this would happen in like a mentor session. Like the way that you find out is the person you look up to being like, hey, so you're going to use this brush tool, and you're like, what brush tool? What are we talking about? That happens sometimes in my mentor calls. Like I edit on Lightroom Classic, but I feel like a lot of people edit on just plain Lightroom. Lightroom CC is what it used to be called, but now it's just Lightroom. And I feel like there are a couple things that get lost in translation sometimes. And yeah, it just comes with the territory. That is so funny. Okay. I wanted to remove a stroller from a photo, and AI replaced it with a barbecue grill. Honestly, like, I feel like AI is so funny because it'll replace something you want to remove with something that looks just like it, but it's not quite it. So like a stroller, no. Barbecue grill. I feel like it does that all the time with just random things. Like, oh, you wanted to remove this person? I'm actually going to put a mime there instead. Like, in what world? Oh gosh. Okay. Let's see. We're going to find maybe one more. Yeah, we got some good funny ones this time. So this is funny. Okay. I'm a volunteer photographer for our local animal shelter where I take photos of dogs up for adoption for social media to help them find their forever home. I always somehow get a photo of a dog sitting, but his little manhood is out for the world to see. I end up just editing it out, which I feel bad and a little unethical about, but I also know no one needs to see that, and it's better than putting a black bar over it. Like Girls Gone Wild, LOL. Oh my gosh, that is so funny. You have to use discretion with stuff like that. Like, for example, my horses in Italy, like I told you about, I did edit that out. Like I just was like, you're gone, bye. You're not going to be there anymore. It feels weird. Yeah. Like you said, you don't want to put like a little like censored thing over top of it. Like you'd rather just edit it out. But then it feels weird too. Like sometimes I'm like, is Lightroom going to flag me for editing out like a horse's dong? You know what I mean? Like is Lightroom going to be like, oh, you're sketchy. Why do you have so many photos like that in your Lightroom catalog? That's weird. So yeah, that's just, you got to do what you got to do, especially if you want that dog adopted. You got to edit it out. That's what I think. Okay, guys, those are your editing fail stories for this week. Thank you so much for submitting. Stay tuned for the rebrand. We'll see where it goes. We'll see how things shape up, but you should be seeing new photos, potentially new videos soon. So yeah, I'm super excited. Have a great rest of your week. I hope you continue to survive busy season, and I'll see you next week for another episode. Bye.